If you've spent the last few evenings scrolling through endless grooming tables, reading a mix of glossy ads and a handful of half-hearted reviews, and you still can't picture which one will actually stay steady when your big lab decides to wiggle, this review is here to clear that up. I've spoken to a few professional groomers who swear by a solid platform, and I've also chatted with a couple of first-time dog owners who ended up buying a cheap table that collapsed under a 60-pound terrier. The fear of wasting money on a piece of equipment that either won't lift smoothly or will tip over during a bath is real, and it's why I dug deeper than the usual marketing copy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's picture a typical Saturday grooming session. You've got a 5-year-old golden retriever that loves the water, a grooming brush, a pair of scissors, and a bucket of shampoo. The biggest hassle isn't the clippers, it's trying to keep the dog comfortable while you're bent over a flimsy table that creaks with every movement. That's where a sturdy, height-adjustable platform makes a difference. The Flying Pig Professional Table promises a full stainless steel frame, which means it won't rust after the inevitable splashes, and it's rated for dogs up to 220 pounds, so even a big Bernese won't feel like it's perched on a kitchen counter. The lift system moves from 12 to 40 inches with a quiet electric motor, and you control it with dual foot pedals. In practice, that means you can raise the table to a comfortable working height without having to shuffle around with a manual crank, keeping your back in a safer, more ergonomic position while the dog is already relaxed in the tub. The rubber-coated tabletop is another detail that shows up in real-world use. When you're lathering up a coat of conditioner, a slippery surface can cause a nervous dog to shift, which makes the whole process longer and messier. The soft, non-slip silicone top stays tacky enough to hold a wet dog steady, yet it's easy to wipe clean after each session. Groomers I spoke with said the removable top is handy because you can pull it off for a quick wash, then snap it back on without any tools. The table also rolls on retractable wheels, so you can move it from the grooming room to the living room if you need extra space, and then lock it in place for stability. The motor itself is described as ultra-quiet, which isn't just a marketing line. A silent lift means the dog isn't startled by a sudden whir, helping the whole grooming routine stay calm. Of course, no product is perfect, and there are a couple of trade-offs to keep in mind. The stainless steel construction gives the table a solid feel, but it also makes it a fairly heavy piece of equipment, roughly the weight of a small safe. If you live in a tight apartment and need to store it in a closet, you'll need to plan for that extra heft, and the wheels, while convenient, aren't designed for carpeted stairs. The lift's motor is powerful enough for large breeds, but it does draw a noticeable amount of electricity, so you'll want to have a nearby outlet. It isn't something you can easily run off a battery pack. Pricing sits in the premium range, reflecting the materials and motor, so if you're only grooming a tiny Chihuahua once a month, the investment may not pay off compared with a basic, fold-down table. Finally, the table's dimensions are generous, which is great for big dogs but can feel bulky in a small grooming space, potentially limiting maneuverability around the side. So, who should walk away with this table? If you're a professional groomer who handles a variety of medium to large breeds on a daily basis, the heavy-duty frame, quiet lift, and anti-slip top will likely save you time, protect your back, and reduce the stress on the animals you work with. It also makes sense for dedicated pet owners who regularly bathe and trim a big dog at home and want a setup that won't wobble under a wet coat. On the flip side, if your grooming needs are occasional, involve only small breeds, or you have very limited storage space, a lighter, less expensive table that folds flat might be a better fit. The value of the Flying Pig comes from eliminating the adjust-and-hold dance that you'd otherwise have to perform with a manual table, and from the peace of mind that the stainless frame won't corrode after a season of baths. Bottom line, this is a well-engineered piece of equipment that targets the specific pain points of serious grooming height adjustment without strain, a stable, non-slip surface, and mobility when you need it. It isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for every dog owner, but for the right audience it delivers a solid return on the price tag. If you see yourself using the table multiple times a week and want a reliable platform that won't give you a surprise wobble, it's worth the investment.